Y'all hyped? Y'all hyped? I'm hyped.
Hey, yo. I'm not gonna lie. That may be my second favorite.
I mean, nothing beats the damn gamer core. Like, nothing. But anyways, welcome everybody to Unstructured episode. This is episode 2. I'm just calling it episode 2.
Yeah, fuck it. This is episode 2, bro.
Episode 2 with
I don't know
me
what
and
y'all
Ayden.
talking about with that old shit, bro.
Yeah, we got Chill Zone on here because all the previous episodes don't matter because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. So welcome. And let's go around the room. Ayden, how you doing?
Man, I feel phenomenal. No AJ Styles, you dig? I super fucked up my phone today, which, you know what, fuck it, I'll just show you guys. Yo, look at this shit.
The green bar is just straight. How?
And it's bright as fuck too. And for like an hour, my phone was literally like no no SIM card detected or whatever the fuck. I was like, oh man, this is not good. So I don't know what's up with that, but I'm gonna get that figured out. But you know, other than that, bro, we chilling, man. I'm sitting, you know, I'm a little washed out today, but as you can see, bro, I'm chilling in nature.
I need to figure out outdoors. I need to figure out outdoor setting for me, like how to do that.
Yeah, it's a little humid because it's been raining a shit ton here in Texas. And the weather's still kind of hot. Like we're still in like that transition period.
We're almost out of monsoon season. Like we're almost there.
Man, I don't know, bro. I feel something in the air with Texas this year, man. I'm just saying, bro, like telling you, man, I think it's gonna be a cold one, bro. You know, Game of Thrones came back, so they said winter's coming, you dig?
Yeah. Chill Zone, first time on at least this news show format. Welcome, sir. How you doing, Keon?
Thank you. I appreciate y'all for inviting me on. I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, sleep for the past couple of days has been kind of rough. Because I don't know. I mean, like I've really been like kind of stressed out a little bit.
What you stressing about?
Yeah, what's up?
Just like trying to find an online job and shit. Like it's been really rough. Like the amount I can tell you, I've probably put in more job applications in like the past like 2 weeks than like there have been people. There have been people like complaining about masks.
Yeah,
that's quite a bit.
So you just been searching, man. You just been on the hunt looking for that job.
Yeah. So,
well, don't get frustrated on it. Don't quit. You know,
it definitely is frustrating. Sure.
I'm sure.
Very. But yeah, no, I'm not quitting. There's gonna come a day where somebody's gonna, accept my resume one of these days. So, but other than that,
but listen, man, this is the thing with that too, right? Is that even if you're in this like transition period where you're just kind of like, you feel like you're stalled and you're kind of waiting on shit, you could at least be trying to like think of some other avenues to maybe like create a resume for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe take some liberty to be like, yo, let me do some work over here. Let me do some work over there. And let me just be able to be like, yo, let me put that on my resume. So that way, whenever you're applying to these places, or maybe whenever you go back to reapply for some of these places, you can be like, yo, I already got all this experience. You know what I mean? If that's what you're looking for, because that's really what they look for. They look for all that experience. They don't really give a shit about like, they really don't give a shit about you. They just see the paper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're basically looking for someone who can work or who wants to work, basically.
Yeah, they don't care about your story about, what's going on at home. You know what I'm saying? Like all the shit that like matters to you in your life is not a concern at all to theirs. You know what I mean? Because it's all a perception of reality. So you gotta understand where you lie in their in their reality. You know what I mean? You got to figure out what they're looking for. You just got to be that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Especially nowadays. Yeah, a lot of people don't. A lot of these jobs, and I mean, like that's just kind of been like the gospel. It's like the jobs don't really care about you. They just, they want you for like their to increase their numbers.
Yeah.
Like, so that's pretty much it. Um, but yeah, I wholeheartedly agree for sure.
Yeah, man. But Brad, how are you doing, man? Since you asked us how we're doing, what's
You
going on
know,
with your life?
I'm doing well. Doing pretty good. I got a ice black coffee,
Oh man.
my second cup. Not of the ice black, but I had a cup originally. So I haven't had a pre-workout. I accidentally did that last week. I had a pre-workout, and then Brenda made me coffee, and then I
Ooh.
had a half an ember.
Damn,
I'm
you were
fucking on a
hurting.
different plane.
You were on a yeah, you were on a different level, man. You were probably going through the roof.
Yeah.
Some old
So
Tom and
I took
Jerry
her out to
shit.
lunch, and I'm just mile a minute. She's like, "What the hell did you do?"
That used to be why
I'm
I
like, "I'm
wasn't
good."
sleeping well, because I was drinking coffee because I used to work like all closing shifts exclusively, and I was drinking coffee. Like I would go in like 3:30 and like get a cup, which like honestly, nah, I'm not doing that shit no more. Like no coffee past like 12 p.m.
Yeah, you kind
But
of got to
like
watch that.
yeah, but I would have that pre-workout in the morning. I'd go in and get that coffee, and I would be up all fucking night. Like could not fall asleep till like 2 p.m.
And see, I'll go in and I'll have pre-workout right after I get home from work
Yeah.
during the week, and I'll either run or lift or both. So I've been keeping up with that. So I've been pretty good with that. I've only missed like 2 days, but that's because I had to go to training up in another city. So for the most part, you know, lifting, like I've really come to like lifting.
You
Cardio's
still got
still
to
a
be able to
bitch.
take those off days between though, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There's been some times where I just have done just cardio because I've just been too sore for lifting. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a day off. And then, there's days where I've just done lifting instead of cardio. So I do keep notice of like my shoulder kind of hurts. So let's go a little light on that. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good. I've since last time was what, a month ago, Aiden? So I'm down
Yeah,
like
man.
7 pounds.
Shit. Yeah, it's been a month, man. What did I feel like a dumbass? I'm like, what did we do for the last time that we said? We had set like a goal or something. It was some man. What did we say? We
So
told everyone.
so so my I remember my goal was one, I wanted to clean out my garage so I could get my gym set in there.
Right.
Fucking did that.
Did that.
I forget what the other ones were though. I
Okay,
want to say
I'm
it
starting
was
to
I
remember.
finished some books or something. And I've
Yeah.
since then I've gone through I think 3 or 4 books, and I'm at is it The Way of the Superior Man?
Yep. Yes, sir. Oh
Yeah, so I'm on
boy.
that one.
Yes, sir.
I'm on
Y'all already,
chapter 9,
man.
I think.
Y'all already know how I feel about that book. That's the
Yeah.
Bible, man. I wish I could pull out my copy right now, but I let a friend borrow it. So she, you dig? You feel
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
Y'all heard? She is reading The
She.
Way of the Superior Man. Because it's important that y'all understand that a lot of these concepts that we talk about on this show are universal. You know what I mean? Like you have constructed this reality in your head where you feel as though we're at war with each other. We need to be at peace. We need to be in unity with each other. You know what I'm saying? Like I've been doing a lot of research. Now I'm starting to go off on a side tangent, but that's what we do here. I've been doing a lot of research on
That's the
like
show.
ancient Africa and understanding like where we all come from. You know what I mean? Like going back to the history of like the Moors and everything that went on with them, and just like understanding the history of like ancient Egypt. You know what I mean? Because these timelines, the way we learn them in school, is told through their reality that they try to impose on us and they try to fit our thinking into, right? Where it's like, we're going to teach you this shit out of order so that way you don't understand like the way that this shit naturally flowed in history. You know what I mean? And it's like you had all this shit going on in ancient Egypt, you know what I mean? And even beyond that, hundreds of years before there was, and thousands of years, matter of fact, before there was any type of civilization going on in Europe. You know what I'm saying? But basically coming down to it, back then there were women who were pharaohs, there were men who were pharaohs. It had nothing to do with gender, bro. It had to do with who is the most fit for the role. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel like a a lot of times we're losing sight of that these days, where we're trying to impose this thing of equality, and it's like equality just means equal opportunity, man. That doesn't mean that we're all fit, to succeed in the same opportunities. But that's all, that's a whole episode and a half right there that we could really get into. That I'm still trying to. I really would like to get like a woman to come on the show with us, and like I would love to have like that masculine and that feminine talk. Like I would love to talk about like, the roles that I feel
that's
like
definitely
are important.
And that'll definitely be a future episode, because it's important. Like that was kind of one of the main points that kind of made us go to this show and make this show what it is, was that point right there. This show today is about accountability, and that's a big thing. That's a big thing that a lot of people don't want to put on themselves, and it's one of the most important things though. Right now, I've been listening to basically David Goggins on Joe Rogan's podcast, and David Goggins, like I'll admit, like he's can be a little out there sometimes, but the man took accountability for his actions. Like he knew why he was fat, he knew he was out of shape, and he eventually did something about it. And I mean, that's kind of what we have to do. I bought his book. His book is what I'm going to read next. So it's $10 on a Kindle. If people have a Kindle.
Matter of fact, what's it called? You Can't Hurt Me.
Yeah.
That book, matter of fact, is the book that kickstarted like this whole journey for me. Like my grandmother had bought me that book like 3 years ago or 2 years ago for Christmas. She was like, "Oh, I figured you might want to read this." And I was like, "Man, I don't want to read this book. Fuck you mean I'm gonna read a book?" You know what I mean? It's like, that's where I was at with my level of thinking. But it was sitting on my desk for months and months and months, and I was just kind of like, man, like this thing's haunting me. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I'm trying to tell myself that I want to go on this journey, but I'm not actually doing anything about it. You know what I mean? And it was in my head that I had to get over it. You know what I mean? And I had to be like, shit, man, like. Because if you notice the cover of the book, it's a picture of him whenever he was, massive and overweight
in the background, and then him like in the foreground as he is now, and much healthier, much better mindset, I'd say. And that's kind of the thing, is you got to have, and he said it, he had to change his perspective, he had to change his mindset, and he had to hold himself accountable, and that made him go over the 100% he needed. This man. What he did, how many miles? Like 100 miles?
Yep.
Without any training. And at the end, he was pissing blood and shit himself. And like he wanted to live in that moment, live in that pain. It's just like, all right, I don't know if I can get to that point, but I can make myself like go more than I've gone before. I don't know if I can get myself to pissing blood and shitting myself. I don't know if that's the healthiest way to go about it, but I understood what he was saying is in order for him to cross that threshold, he had to get to that point for himself.
Yeah, this is the thing, man, like where I was talking about, where I have this conversation with people all the time where it's like, I'm at work and someone complains to me. Matter of fact, I'll tell this story because I don't know if he's listening. Honestly, I really don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to say his name or anything.
I mean, if we need to change names or don't name names,
but I've got someone that I know in my personal life, and I'm not super close with this person or anything. Like we're more just like we see each other every now and then. You know what I mean? Like we, whenever we have to kind of talk with each other, it's no animosity or anything. It's just like it's just a person that I see frequently, and dude's talking about he keeps saying that he's got to go get his blood tested. I might be diabetic. I might be this, might be that. I'm like, all right, yeah, man, like that's real serious. You know what I mean? Being diabetic, you might want to go get that checked out. So he goes and he gets it checked out and he comes back and, first thing that he does is he starts complaining about his diet that he's got to have now because they're telling him like, you're this far over to being diabetic. You know what I mean? If you get like slightly more, you know what I mean? Like if you're eating more sugar and you're drinking those sodas, you're going to be full-blown diabetic. So he's complaining to me, and he starts complaining to me about how he's got to change his diet now and how he can't have sodas and he can't be having the sugars. And he's got to watch his carbs and he's got to watch his starches now. and he's got to eat cleaner, and he's got to. And I was sitting there looking, I'm like, bro, that's my diet. I eat that shit every single day, and I love it. You know what I mean?
Also, and that's to help you, not, lose a leg, lose a limb, die. Like, diabetes ain't to be played with.
Yeah, it's not like some shit where it's like, you know what I mean?
That's one of the number one killers in the United States is, diabetes.
Yeah, and it's an
and
industry.
People don't talk about that enough. Like,
no, the thing that I'm talking about enough is just the industry to get you the literally, and this is the root of everything, really, right? Is they want you super depressed, and they want you in this state of not being able to think for yourself, and to literally be like a dog every time that you're driving on the highway and you see the big golden arches of McDonald's.
Mm-hmm.
Start
you get
thinking
that
about the
dopamine
chicken
hit
nuggets
right when you bite into that burger, right when you take a sip of that soda.
Yeah, it's an industry, man. And once you realize that it's all just to put money in their pocket, and they really don't give a shit about you, and these, but it's a 2-for-$6 deal, brother. When's the last time they didn't have a deal on the menu? You know what I mean? Like, there's always something there trying to get you to come out and spend money. You know what I mean? But people don't talk about that. But my point with the guy, right, is that he's sitting here complaining about having to treat his body better and having to respect himself more. I was like, isn't that twisted that they have convinced you that the only way to live a happy life is to drink a Coke every single day, is to get the chocolate shake, whenever you get the burger that you don't need, you know what I mean, and you get the extra loaded bacon, and you're eating the pork, which itself is disgusting because you are what you eat, and if pork eats anything and everything underneath the sun, and it's not properly breaking down those enzymes, and those enzymes are then transferring to you through bacon, through ham sandwiches, through pulled pork, and it's killing you. It's literally destroying your heart and your arteries.
And then on top of that is everything else they add to it, like
all
the salt, all the preservatives. It's just overall bad. And I'll say it over and over again. Fast food is just bad for you. Like, I get why people eat it. I get that little dopamine kick. I was the same way. Like, but you have to get
fucking it up, man. Y'all seen me on this show. Hey, In and Out, yes sir. We there, man. Listen, I'm not saying you have to completely throw it away, but it's just like you need to be able to moderate yourself.
Everything in moderation. Like that's why I'm like saying David Goggins on a whole nother level with his exercise routine. Most people don't need that. You don't need to run 200 miles.
Y'all heard that plane? They heard us speaking the truth. They said we got to shut that down. They said shut that brother down.
Ayden was quick on that mute.
I-13 said fly above. See,
Golden Arches.
Man, they don't want you to hear this shit. See, now I got Siri going off. They don't want you to hear this shit.
But like I said, like David Goggins, 200 miles a day, and people do that. And if people enjoy ultra running and running like that, ultra walking, whatever the hell, sure. That's not necessary. Just like eating fast food every day of the week is not necessary. Like, very not necessary. And probably better for your pocketbook to not do that. Are groceries expensive? Yeah. Like, everything's expensive now. But, the problem with fast food, it's not going to fill you up. You need like protein. Like, if you can spend $6 on a burger, you can spend $6 and buy, a steak at the grocery store.
Right. Chicken or something.
Yeah.
But the thing
also
is,
learn to cook.
Yeah. And the thing is, this isn't not even just on a health level, but like a financial level, on a spiritual level.
It all comes together. It all comes together.
All aspects of life.
Yeah.
All aspects of life, and the reason why the guy is in this situation, that he's afraid for his whole future for the rest of his life, because his lack of accountability thus point in his life has brought him here. It was a couple months ago, he was telling me about some eating choices that he was doing, and oh man, I really want to start working out, but I can't. Oh, I really want to, but I can't. And it's like, but you can, you know what I mean? You literally have to look into your day, write it down on paper, everything that you're doing in the day. And you got to start assigning it times, and you got to start being able to literally, like a Thanksgiving turkey, man, you got to be able to carve into that shit. And you got to literally find pockets of time that you need to be able to take advantage of, because time is just an illusion, man. Like, it's not real.
the problem is it's easy to make excuses. I was doing
Man,
that.
you bugs
I
fiending,
was doing
man.
like, oh, I don't have any time. I come home from work, I'm tired. I got to go, podcast. I got all this, and then I figured out, you don't feel very good. Your body does not feel good. Which makes your mind feel bad, which makes everything bad. And I learned how to basically organize everything, organize my time, and I've literally watched movies while on the treadmill now. Like we were
Yeah.
reviewing, I put it on my Kindle, put it on the treadmill, and just watched it. I watched the first episode of the Lord of the Rings show, which we're going to be reviewing next week, because I don't have time to do both, so I'll just do both at the same time.
Yeah, you got to make time.
Yeah, and figure it out, because you should have your health just as important as everything else, if not more.
Yeah. If you're not finding at least 5 minutes a day to be able to sit down in a quiet room, in a quiet space, and be able to meditate and reflect upon your day, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Well, I'm not sorry, honestly, because you should be able to do that for yourself. You should have enough respect for yourself to be able to put the stimulants down, to be able to put the thrills down, and to be able to humble yourself for a second and realize, because this is something that I've been really searching and really looking like with my spirituality and like what I personally like believe in. And I truly believe that like the concept of like God itself is everyone is their own God, and once you realize that, once you start treating yourself like you are a God and you are that God, because I believe in my whole heart, I could have been, and I will be, I'm just, like I'm at a young stage in my life. I know I'm going to be moving on to big things. You know what I mean? Like I know the platform one day is going to be bigger than me just sitting in the back of my grandparents' backyard. You know what I mean? Preaching through the stream yard. Like I know my influence is going to get bigger, but it's because all the things that I'm doing in my daily life. I'm waking up at 6 a.m. I'm not touching that phone for the first 3 hours of the day because I know that it's gonna fuck with my way of thinking, whether an emergency happened overnight or not. It can afford to wait under the 3 hours while I get myself mentally to where I need to be by doing my push-ups, doing my cardio in the morning. You know what I mean? Making sure that I'm fasting, between the hours of 9 p.m. and at least 10 a.m. the next day, because that drive is going to motivate me to get to where I need to be. And it's going to unlock those frequencies in my brain to be able to push myself to the next level and to be able to continue that on, you know what I mean? And every single day, you know what I mean? There's not a day that I'm folding now because I realize that it's going to end the streak that I've built up for myself, when it becomes a competition within, because it's a battle between the balance of your left brain and your right brain. And we have to realize that like we as people, we're not just like our consciousness, you know what I mean? Like we're not just one person, we're different fragments of a collective that make up the individuals of the avatar body that we are. And once we realize and we stop trying to hold ourselves to absolute standard, you know what I mean? To absolutes, you know what I mean? And you start holding yourself to better standards, and you start treating yourself with respect, you're not even going to want to reward yourself. You know what I mean? You're not even going to want to go on those cheat days and start eating that tiramisu and that ice cream and all the good shit. You're not going to want to do that because you're like, man, like I'm already building up something so good right now. I don't want to slow that down.
Yeah. Why'd I put all that work in?
Yeah.
I like you brought up that like we should treat ourselves. I mean, in basically every religion, they always say like made in the image of God. So yeah, we are kind of our own God. And then the book I read, Outwitting the Devil, they bring up that, so he's having a conversation with a devil, if it's a real devil or whatever, I don't know, imaginary one he made up that he's having this conversation with. And the devil basically says that, it's procrastination that is like, that's what truly is sin and puts people in hell, is procrastination. Like hell isn't a place or anything, it's where they put themselves because of procrastination. And that's basically what the main point of that book, and what he tells.
Hell is a state of being. It's not a place. It's a state of being. You are the reason why you feel like shit is because you are literally living in hell within your own brain, because you've constructed that environment for yourself.
Exactly. And that's what Outwitting the Devil goes into. Like, this would be a great one for you to read, Ayden, because that's exactly what this book kind of drives on. And what's funny is this book was written in the 1930s, and the wife of the man who wrote this, Napoleon something, I'd have to look it up, but she was afraid because she was afraid because they were Catholic, and she didn't want it released while she was still alive, and so it didn't get released until I think like 2011. But
you mean to say history being erased and being silenced by the Catholics? That wouldn't be against history at all.
But it goes into this just because it was so high thinking on it, of like we're all like certain vibrations, and you know what he calls drifting is procrastination, and because of that, that's how people put their state into hell. That's and you know, very kind of a difficult read, just because sometimes it goes off like pretty deep, but it's a good read.
Yeah, sometimes a lot of those books can be really confrontational, whether you kind of want it or not. But that's a good thing, you know, because it's like the book is reading you. But I feel you, man. I'm sitting out here. These mosquitoes, mosquitoes are going to town, man. I'm supplying them.
I mean, I wanna. We've been talking for a bit. I want to get Keon's perspective, because he's going into this kind of like I am, new into this whole, you know, make your body better, make your mind better,
self-improvement journey.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to say for the record, you guys were. I'm guessing my dog must have heard you guys speaking that shit.
Man, man, he heard it.
He started going crazy.
So talk that talk.
I was like, yeah, they're right.
Dogs out.
I definitely agree with a lot of what you guys said. Growing up, most of my life, especially when you guys were speaking about like diabetes and stuff, like my family heritage has a history of people like my mother's dad, my granddad on my mother's side. He was diabetic, and that's how he passed away. And I'm pretty sure that my grandmother had a history of like high blood pressure, things like that. Like a lot of people in my family have had that history of like, you know, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, you know, things of that nature. And about like a month and a half ago, when I went to the doctor, they did like a bunch of tests and stuff like that, and that unfortunately was the result. They were telling me that I had, you know, that I have high blood pressure, you know, high cholesterol. They were saying that, you know, as far as my heart health is fine, but that's my pediatrician telling me. I haven't seen a cardiologist, you know, someone who specializes in that. So even though my pediatrician is telling me my heart is fine, cardiologist could tell me that I have a failing heart, you know, any day. And so I just thought that at some point I need to take control of my body. I need to do better, because you see too many young people, less than 25, you know, dying from any kind of reason, whether, you know, any reason. People nowadays are dying far too
industry.
Young.
They prey on the young. They're preying on the young, man. They're preying on your mental. They're preying on your health.
A lot of these, you know, we've recently seen, like, there was a comedian who died at 32 and all this, and a lot of them were overweight.
Ooh, that cramp.
And, you know, we've seen it before. A lot of young people, overweight people, or those with diabetes, older people with diabetes, were dying during this whole COVID situation. Like that like it wasn't just the COVID, it was the complications.
And they were over-ordering the pints of the Ben and Jerry's on DoorDash for $10 a month.
Yeah,
that's what they were doing.
Yeah. And I forget, Ayden, I think it was a Microsheet episode I was listening to, because this goes, so me and Keon are both Southern, so like I totally understand like the whole family.
We all
like,
Southern.
Food's fucking good. Oh,
we all
yeah. We all like fried chicken.
We all like the fried chicken and the chitlins and the greens.
Oh no,
Well,
fuck
there,
chicken. You kiss my ass too. But
but
I'm
there
sorry.
is.
Um,
I think there was a Mike Rashid episode, and he was talking about it was some movie,
listen,
and
at least you
and
can
they,
say that's one. You know, that's one kind of pork I ain't eat. I ain't touching. Not nope.
Not with it.
and so they had Mike Rashid was talking about this movie, and all these people they went to Big Mama's house, and they were eating soul food. They always get soul food. Go in Big Mama's house like every weekend for church or something, getting soul food. Big Mama ends up getting diabetes, and she loses limbs, and she finally passes away. And even after that, it's still going over eating soul food. It's like the family doesn't correlate what caused Big Mama's death, you know.
Mhm.
And it's one of that things. It's like we've been like not only kind of genetically screwed in that our family has this history, but we've also been kind of
Yep.
taught like bad habits just because that's what everyone was taught before us. And so
Mhm.
we got to get out of that mode of being like, well, I'm going to eat this because my family ate this. And it's like,
Yep.
well, all the family's dead. So there should be,
Mhm.
you should know there's a correlation there at some point, but we
Yeah.
don't.
It's because it's intrinsic all the way
Yeah.
down to your DNA. Because if the DNA that you have in your body, and what DNA is it's literally codes. It's codes like the same way that you think of the Matrix with the ones and O's. It's literally ones and O's that flows through your veins, your blood. Every part of you, the script that's inside of your DNA, it passes down all the way down to your ancestor who was chilling up in the tree or chilling below the trees down on that hill in Africa where the primates got together and they started mating and they started having babies, and we came from the womb and we carry the same DNA that your mother had because she passes it down to you in your womb, and you've got the same DNA from your father. So you get all this genetic trauma and all these memories and all this knowledge. There's a reason why we're always smarter. There's a reason why the next generation is always smarter. It's because they are literally passed down with all the knowledge that you've gathered up to that point when you conceive them. So if you've got all these people that are having babies in the most like adrenaline and stress filled parts of their lives, you know what I mean? And they're having children that they shouldn't be having, and they're having all this added pressure onto them, then that trauma is going to carry down to the baby. And if the parents are eating like shit because the same thing happened to them, and that's the same reason why they were born, and they're carrying it on for the rest of their lives, and it just becomes a generational thing. And no one ever stops to question it. We just kind of do it. That's
Mhm.
how it happens, man. If I've got my grandmother who gets pissed off at me because I don't want to eat her cooking anymore, and she thinks I'm trying. I mean, that's a whole different thing, but she thinks I'm just like not trying to eat her food. But it's like, yo, like what you're eating would literally like is the reason why I was getting bullied in school, because you were destroying me at home. You were killing me at the dinner table,
Well, and if they
and they were
they
killing me
don't,
mentally.
and see, they don't like understand like they're hurting you. Like they don't
Nope.
they're trying to be this loving, person. That's how they show love, is they cook for you very well. But at some point you got to be like, because I was telling you, like Brenda's the same way. Like Brenda would do like basically anything to make me happy. Like for cooking wise, she'd like, oh, I want a pie. She'd make me
Constructed
a
hot
pie.
dog.
Yeah, so like chili hot dog bowls, like sure, like she don't care. And I just had to say, I'm like, I got to change because, like, I know you love me.
Yeah.
Like, I get that.
Yeah.
But I got to change because I'm going to die here at 50.
That's
If
where the
I keep
accountability comes in, because we need to come in and we need to take it upon ourselves to realize, okay, what mom's is whipping up at home is not just having an effect on me, it's having an effect on her and her mental health. It's having an effect on everyone in the house who's eating the food's mental health. So now what I have to do is I have to look and I have to seek knowledge, and I have to be prepared to come up with solutions. You can't just leave it all up to mom who's been cooking the same thing for the past 20 years, past 30 years, past 40 years to want to just change all her shit. Now you have to go in and be like, all right, well, let me find some solutions. Let me find some recipes. Let me study up on nutrition, because all it would take is just reading one nutritional book, and you would pretty much have it down if you took it pretty seriously. And that's where, this whole concept of taking accountability, you have to look in every single corner of your life and have to think about, how do I take accountability for that? You can't blame it on, oh, well, my mom makes it. You can't blame it on her. That's all she knows.
You're the one picking up the fork and putting it in your mouth.
Exactly.
Like, yeah, like you're the one eating it. So it might be a difficult conversation, like you said, with your grandma, but at the same time, it's like, you got to bring it to her. Like, look, I don't feel good. This isn't good for me. It's not you. Like, I know you just want to cook something for me that you think is a loving gesture, but at the same time, I'm trying to better myself.
Mm-hmm. Same thing physically, like we were saying with like the exercise and shit, like hearing all these people, oh, I don't feel like going to the gym, man. I don't know how many times I've had to tell y'all, I don't give a fuck what you feel like doing today. You got to get your ass up. You got to take care of yourself.
I can honestly say sometimes I'm like, God, that fucking treadmill. And then something clicks, like, I hate that fucking treadmill. I'm going to put a hole through that treadmill. And
Yep.
I'm going to put a hole through it by walking on it, because that motherfucker's going down at some point in my life.
Yep. Just start thinking about everything as like a channel for
Yeah.
different emotions. And if you think about working out as a channel for your anger and your stress in your life, and you work through that the first thing in the morning, then everything else after is going to be easy. Because you got to think, if working out is going to be the toughest thing that you got to do for that day, and you do it in the morning, everything else is like fucking cakewalk for the rest of the day. You know what I mean? Like, it will literally have that effect on you where it's like, man, like, this conversation that I wanted to have today that I thought was tough, it's not shit because of the pain that I went through this morning.
You know what's funny is Joe Rogan and David Goggins were having that conversation. They were like, after 4 hours of exercise, they could give a fuck less about everything else.
Yeah.
They just like, it was just like what else is there in the day? I just did 4 hours of fucking high activity. What do you want?
Yeah. I just had my ribs fractured because this motherfucker kicked the shit out of me at the gym today. You know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck what my boss is bitching about at work. You know what I mean? It's that type of shit where it's like, bro, like, you got to start realizing what's important. You got to construct your own reality. You can't start going based off of what society wants you to think, because we live in a, it's a meme that like we live in a backward society, but we literally live in a extremely fucking backward society, man. Like, that's one of those ones that I got to slow down and I got to take breaths and I got to think about, and I got to go, man, like, what is the direction that we're moving in? Because it's frightening. And at this point, it's on us to just be able to fill ourselves with the knowledge to be able to carry it over into our next generation, into our successors. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of it has to do of, we're a society that thrives off entertainment. And when people become just too focused on the entertainment that's outside their lives, they forget about themselves. And that's constantly what society is doing, is just making us forget about ourselves and then focusing on everything that is fucking unimportant.
They're making you realize, they're trying to make you feel as though you are an individual who's thinking outside of the box, but they're trying to tribalize everything, and they're trying to just create two different opposing views, and they're trying to box you into those two different views. They're not trying to, you're not an independent thinker. You're not someone who's, oh, well, I'm doing what's right. Nah, man, like, they've got your perception warped. Like, honestly, like, a lot of times, and I'm just using this as an example, you take this whole conversation of the right versus the left. A lot of times y'all are arguing the same exact fucking point. They've just misconstrued the argument so much to where y'all got shit, y'all got y'all's feelings tied into it. Everything has to do with people's feelings these days. I don't,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I understand that we're human, you know what I mean? But like, if you always, it's like it always is in like these movies, right? These movies about like historical events. All the people who go into shit with their feelings, those are always the sides that lose. You know what I mean? And if you're going into this shit with your feelings, if you've got your emotions tied into, I don't give a fuck what she thinks about this or what she thinks about that, but she's a woman, so I support her, so I'm gonna do that. You know what I mean? Or you got this guy over here, and it's like, well, I don't give a fuck what he thinks about this or what he thinks about that, but he's a black dude and I'm a black dude, so I'm gonna support him. You know what I mean? And I'm all for supporting the brothers, but I'm just saying, like, use this as an example where it's like you have to go beyond these tertiary constructs that they put into your head. You know, when the moment that you look at someone, you immediately box them. You look at me and you go, young, black, tattoos on his face, so he's a degenerate. You know, there's all types of social constructs that people impose on me, but in reality, none of those truly exist. It's all something that the frequency of what they put on the radios, the frequencies of what they're putting into the TV and what they're putting in movies.
Trying to silence you.
They don't want this shit out here, man. The frequencies of what they're putting into your video games and all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I was listening to a wrestling podcast this morning because I'm trying to, I'm on my wrestling shit for this weekend. But I heard someone say something. He used the term white hot. The reason why they even come up with terms like that is to make you associate white hot with being something that's positive. But if you were to say black hot, that would associate it with negative, and then they impose these constructs on you. So they already attach themselves into your mind in that way. That's just an example of it. But it's just like, you need to get out of this thinking, man. It's on every single level, man. And it's holding you back.
And I think
be accountable for yourself, man.
Yeah, I think people have to learn to make decisions for themselves instead of just going like first thing, just what a group does and go with that. A lot of cancel culture, there's people who don't go and like listen or go
properly
and
research what's being said.
Properly research why we canceled this person, or or why this person is being canceled, or why we're angry at this person. Like, it doesn't, like, we just don't do the research. We just take it for granted, like this person's a piece of shit.
You see a 5-second out of context clip on TikTok with a quote over it explaining the situation that isn't actually the situation.
Yeah.
And then you hear this chopped up footage of what this guy is saying, and now you have this idea of who this person is, and you have no idea who this person is.
Which you can do.
Matter of fact, this guy's done more for the situations that you claim to be a warrior for. This motherfucker's donated millions for it. You've done nothing.
I mean, honestly, if you wanted to, they could cancel us just by clipping whatever the fuck we've said in the past 6-7 years.
Yeah.
They could clip it together and cancel me if they wanted.
Oh, absolutely, Kylie.
Absolutely, Kylie.
We're glad to see you in the chat, and this is fact, and that is part of the tribal mentality. Everything is toxic,
and it's people not making their own. It's people not making their own opinions,
Do you, King? Who cares what Chad at the gym thinks about you, because he's just trying to give you some genuine advice, because because obviously he's living his best life and he's taking full advantage of the hours in the day that he's been given. But do you, King, who feels like shit at home, eating your curly fries, not giving a fuck, jerking off to anime girls that don't exist? Do you, King?
I mean, it's kind of like recently this week, John Bernthal has been, one of those put up there to be canceled because he did an interview with Shia LaBeouf. And it's like, did anybody listen to the interview yet? I haven't listened to the interview yet.
I haven't listened to it.
Like, is it just like, I know Shia, yes, Shia did vulgar things in the past. I mean, we're always preaching second chances and all that. So maybe go listen before we're all like, oh, he's a woman beater. And he's self-admitted. Like, most women beaters don't self-admit to being women beaters, So
I'm not honoring this motherfucker, but the thing is, like, we always have that conversation, right? Of like, we got to look into mental health and what it takes, and you have to learn from his mistakes. And he's trying to open up and he's trying to tell you, yo, this is what was going on. If you feel yourself on this path, you might end up doing some shit like I've done. Get some help for yourself.
How crazy. You can only be canceled if you let yourself be canceled. There are people out there that have done heinous things. For example, Logan Paul. I'll take it back to all the way to 2018, 2017, whatever year it was, when he made the video making fun of the suicide force in Japan. Saw a guy, that was, it's a suicide force, so you can pretty much guess like what the situation was. And he made fun of it. Guess what? He continued going on, and now look at him. He's working for the WWE. He's doing boxing. He's doing all this stuff because he didn't let himself be canceled.
And
He kept
I
going.
think
He has
like
a successful podcast. He's doing it with that. It had a plethora of famous people on it. He's had Triple H himself. He's had Logic. He's had all these people on there because he didn't let himself be canceled.
Yep.
yes, Kylie, people make mistakes. They have consequences, but after consequences, you deserve another chance. Totally agree.
Yeah,
Like if you're
absolutely.
trying
People
to
are putting
better
all
yourself,
their
and with Keon, sorry,
Sorry.
with Logan Paul like has grown up. If
Yeah.
from that incident in the forest, if you haven't noticed, he has tried and grown up since then. You're
Mhm.
not looking. You're
Mhm.
refusing to look. Like I get it. Logan Paul was a piece of shit back in the day. But he was what, 22, 23?
Yeah.
I mean, I can
Mhm.
honestly say I was probably a piece of shit too at 22, 23. Compared to what I am now, I've made mistakes. I'll self-admit it.
That's
You
the
know?
thing, man. It's like put the spotlight on yourself. You know what I mean? People love to point out other people's flaws, but it's like, what's the shit that you've done that no one knows about? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
And have you
quit
grown
trying
from
to
that?
act
Have
like
you
you're this.
grown to realize you are or were a piece of
Yeah.
shit and you're trying to better yourself? Because if
if
you're
people-
not, then yeah, you deserve to be like completely canceled by society, sure.
Mhm.
But if you're like trying to make amends and trying to be better, we're always a society preaching second chances, but then we turn our backs on people.
Mhm. And that's the thing is, I feel like if people put their energy, as much energy as they do, typing up these fucking essays about how shitty of a person that this guy is, into, if they put all that energy into making the world a better place, the world could be a better place.
Hey, talk that
Honestly.
talk. Hey, talk that talk, man.
I
That's what
don't
I'm
think
saying.
people don't realize that most of these people don't care about being king. Like, and especially like with people that are actually shitty. Like, what was the whole? I just saw something about fucking what was it? Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears like being weird. I'm not gonna say what they did, but being weird.
My thing is, man, like, mind your own
And
business, bro.
where's
Yeah,
that
Like,
information coming from, though?
We're
Like it just randomly
where's
pops up
that
on
coming
Twitter.
from?
they got y'all so misconstrued and got y'all so twisted into thinking that what's going on in other people's lives is relevant to what's going on in your life. If the biggest highlight of your day is looking at something that's going on in somebody else's life instead of what's going on in your life,
Mhm.
you have life all wrong. Like you have literally let the system encapsulate you, sink their claws into you, and you are literally a puppet to them now. They've got you twisted. They got you at the chicken fry deal with Burger King. They got you at Arby's trying to get that motherfucking Jamocha shake with the special
Ugh.
sauce and shit. They got you everywhere, man. They
I would
they
just
got you
say
thinking
this
that's
though.
what you need for happiness.
You
They
want
got
a
you hooked up
Harvey,
with
bro?
the $35
I got the
DLC on top of the
meat
season
sweats.
pass. They got you everywhere, man. They got you hooked up with every single streaming service under the sun with way too much content, and the content that you are consuming is doing nothing to expand your thinking process and expand the way that you view the world and maybe make you question yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like the point is the point
Kylie's
of
making
everything.
points. Kylie is making points today.
Yeah. And you can you, man, my fucking computer's finna die. I gotta go get the charger.
Get the
But
charger real quick.
let's go to the king real quick. But I'm still saying the point of everything here that we're trying to say is that it's fully on you, and it's fully up to you to be the one to make those choices and to make those decisions and to start asking those questions. And it's not saying that you need to change every single thing today, but it's saying I need to change my thinking process today. I have to ask myself, why am I at the Burger King line getting my third meal of the day? I'm not even hungry right now. You have to ask yourself, why am I rolling the blunt again today? I'm not even high. I don't even feel this shit no more. You got to ask yourself, like, why don't I give a fuck about showing up to work on time? You know what I mean? Why am I laying in bed 3 hours after waking up and pissing my day away? You have to ask yourself these questions. Once you ask yourself those questions and you get those answers, those answers are going to show you the gateway, and they're going to show you now the path to changing everything. Because once you realize I'm laying in bed every day because I'm afraid of starting my day, because I'm afraid that I'm wasting my life, and I'm afraid that I don't know how to do that. Well, now spend a week trying to come up with alternatives for yourself. Take it upon yourself. It's no one. You live your life with this mentality that someday, and they got this shit sunk into you from the Disney movies and all that shit. They make you feel as though one day Prince Charming's gonna walk into your life, or Prince Jasmine, or whoever's gonna walk into your life, and they're gonna completely, oh well, you're everything. You're the most beautiful woman. You're the most handsome man. You're this. You're that. I love you. Everything about you is great. No, brother, you're not doing anything to better yourself. You know what I mean? Like you're not. What are you contributing to the relationship? What are you contributing? Because everything is a value exchange. There's people that I'm not really even on a day-to-day basis with anymore, because I'm realizing that the value that I'm bringing is far exceeding the value that you're bringing, which it's not to say like, not both of us couldn't bring more value than the other one, but it's to say, man, like if I'm consistently showing up on this vibration and you're consistently showing up on this vibration, and you're not coming up and I'm still moving up, then the gap widens, and now I've outgrown you.
And
now I've outgrown that
either.
life. Yep.
Like that's you see that through life, is sometimes you have to let people go because they're just not good for you. They aren't. You're on a different trajectory, and they want to keep just grabbing onto you and tugging you down
like an anchor.
And yeah, sometimes you just gotta let people go. And to Kylie's point about getting a Frosty from Wendy's, we're not saying like it's bad. Just don't get it like 7 days a week.
Yeah,
I totally get 92 getting Frosty. Yo, I get that. So
I get it.
I mean,
yeah,
I think
my brain is up now. I'm like, man, we are here. We are out here, man. We're having these conversations.
I was gonna say, and to kind of to add on to what Brad just said about having to let people go. I understand that sometimes it can be hard, especially when you've been around someone for so many years at a time. It can be hard to some people are trying to let go of their families because they realize that their families are too toxic for, like they're trying to better themselves, but their families are too overbearing. Like it's not good for them to be. So, I can definitely understand like not wanting people to be around you anymore because you want to better yourself, but no one wants to better themselves along with you. So what Ayden said, then at that point you've outgrown them. And it's not good for them to
you have to let them find their
down.
way.
No, like cinder blocks. They're like cinder blocks on your feet.
Yep.
You want to swim to the surface. You want to elevate.
And
but
you want to find people, like you said, are going to elevate you. They're going to lift you up. And then whoever reaches that pinnacle, that top, you got to remember, turn around and help them back up because they're wanting to grow too. And that's the thing, is they want to grow. And they don't just want to be in the same place and not change and just, make excuses on why they don't want to change.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they're helping you go and you're helping them go, and then one of you reaches it, turn around and help him right back up with you. So
it's all about being conscious and being consciously cognitive of your decisions that you're making. Like I was speaking with, the friend who's got the book right now, Way Superior, man. I was telling her, in every moment, there's been moments in my life where I wasn't present in that moment and what I was saying. Like literally words were just coming out of my mouth. I wasn't even thinking about the words that are coming out of my mouth. I'm just talking just to talk, or I'm doing actions. I'm putting myself in this autopilot mode and I'm not even conscious at the moment because I'm so far back into my own mind worrying about shit that if I were to just have gotten a pair of balls at the moment and eventually I did, and to literally be like, okay, I gotta change some shit. You know, like I got tabs open in my head 24/7. How do I close these tabs? You know, like, okay, let me write them down on paper. Let me write down everything that's stressing me out on paper. You know, let me one by one, like a grocery list. Let me go through these problems. You know, I'm worrying about this past relationship. I gotta close that book. You know, I'm worrying about this relationship that might be slipping. I gotta figure out if that's someone that I can afford to let go, or if that's someone that I need to if I want this person in my life, I need to speak up, and I got to go out to that person. I got to say, yo, like, what's good? Like, are we still like, what is this? You know, there's things that you have to do and decisions that you have to make, because no one else is going to make those decisions for you. And if you try to let someone else make those decisions for you, most of the time it's not going to be the answer that you wanted. So just if you're out here complaining about, if you think that the work is too hard, and I hear the excuse all the time, well, I'm trying to have fun with my life. Are you having fun right now? Are you having fun in therapy every week? Are you having fun taking those antidepressants like clockwork? Are you having fun worrying about week to week paychecks? Are you having fun about that rent? Are you having fun with that student loan that's overdue, that the interest is going up on like a motherfucker? Is that what you're having fun with? Oh, but you're overstimulating yourself for 8 hours a day doing all this other bullshit, so it doesn't matter, right? Because you have to escape to a different reality rather than being content with the reality that currently exists around you as you see it. So that's really, we've been going for about an hour now, and I think this was a great episode, man. But
I think this is a good place to end it. I think we talked quite a bit on accountability and more. And I think we're going to end it the same way we ended last time. Make some goals. Like what goals we got going for this month, since we're doing this monthly.
I'm gonna leave it. I brought a stack of books before me so I could share what I'm currently reading or what I have read. I'm reading this right now, the Scum Manifesto. Man, I gotta say, man, I don't really know how I feel about this book. I don't really.
That's good though. Books that make you think that you don't necessarily completely agree with. Yeah. That's still learning. That's still, and you make an opinion on it, which is what you should do.
Absolutely. And so I definitely recommend
this is way too structured. Kylie, so we've changed it. So the point of Unstructured is not being put into what society structures you in.
Exactly.
So the show might be structured, but the thinking
is still going off. We still go off on tangents though, but
Yeah.
But this book, I would definitely say, if I'm out here reading books like The Way of the Superior Man, I got to start getting into that, the mindset of like what a lot of the women are out there thinking too. You know what I mean? So I got that, and then as soon as I'm done with that, I'm gonna read this book, Females, which apparently references this book. So I'm gonna see what's going on with that connection. But I'm not a woman. You know what I mean? And I don't understand a lot of things. I'm not in that mindset. So I got to put myself in that mindset. This is also, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? We keep this shit a buck on here. Best Sex Ever. I'm reading this book because I feel like it's like, I'm starting to realize what the importance of sex is, you know what I mean? And like how I was out here giving myself away to people for free a lot of the times that like I'm attached to now forever, on a spiritual level, you know what I mean? And it's like I have to start realizing that I gotta hold a lot of that shit back for certain people, and I want to be able to, I want to be able to deliver, man. So I'm reading that, and then we got this, The Enlightened Sex Manual, which is by the same author as The Way of the Superior Man. It's a book that he references towards the end of the book, The Way of the Superior Man. So I got that one, and then to wrap it all up, we're talking about changing your life and changing your habits. This is a great book. Like if I were to recommend any one of these that you need to pick up today, pick up this one. I think it's like $10 at Target. Badass Habits. It's a great book. It's such an easy read. You can probably finish it in like 2 to 3 days. But it's literally going to help you break down, and it's going to make you do homework with the book. It's a 21-day guide to be able to help you break down your life and to put it into a structure that works for you. It's not saying, you don't have to do exactly what the book is telling you, but it's going to give you some options to be able to say like, okay, this is how I'm going to get back on track, or this is how I'm going to get on a track. Because some of y'all aren't even at the station yet. It's time to get up.
Mm-hmm. Just start. like 15 minutes on the treadmill, 20 push-ups. Just start.
Yeah, that's it, man.
And so, Ayden, your goal is to read all those books. That what I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have, man. My goal is to get all these books done by the end of September. Man, I was blowing through books this past month, man. So we're on a high frequency, dog. I'm just consuming as much as I can right now. You know, I'm just trying to be a better person every day. You know,
That's all we can do. Keon, you got any goals?
My goal, especially before the end of this month, is I want to drop at least 25 pounds of weight.
hey, man, that's 25 pounds, man. Something like that. I don't know if that's.
I don't know if that's the
believe you can
healthiest.
do
in a
it. I don't know if
month,
it's healthy, but I'm with you on that mindset.
Yeah.
You will drop
trust
that.
me,
You will drop
yeah.
that weight.
I won't say how much I weigh right now, but at my current weight, that would probably be the best thing for me.
Okay.
It would all I would need to do is just get myself at least, if not every day, every other day, is to do some sort of rigorous, beneficial exercise.
Right.
And there's ways that I can do that. I mean, YouTube is free, so you know.
Hey, man, Bully Juice. This is free game. This is shout out to Bully Juice. If he ever sees this, man, Bully Juice from Dallas. I don't know if he's from Dallas, but he lives here. That YouTube channel right there, he's got some great like 30-day guides, like some hit cardio plans and shit where it's like 1 to 2 videos a day. You do those videos, man, you will see the results.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely recommend him. And then I'll send you I have my lean bulk diet plan. I'll send you my lean bulk diet plan.
Okay.
Kylie says healthy 5 to 10.
5 to 10
to start.
Okay.
But 25 is a goal. So we got 25 as a goal. Maybe not by the end of the month, but 25 is a goal.
I believe you can drop 25 pounds by the end of October.
I was going to say,
I believe you can drop 25 pounds whenever you want, but to do it healthily, like Ayden said, probably October.
But I'm with you on that mindset.
Yeah,
I like that you're in that mindset to be like, oh, I'm gonna get this shit.
Mm-hmm.
That's so good shit. That's definitely my goal before Halloween. I'll make the deadline.
Yes, sir.
My sister just bought a new scale, so I'll be using that damn near every day.
Yeah, do it, man. Daily. As soon as you wake up in the morning, write down what your weight is. And because I'm telling you, when you can
after you take the big shit though.
After you take the big shit, yeah. When you can see it like in real time, you can see it moving down, man. That shit will literally like. There's a power in putting shit on paper, man. Like, and this is why I'm starting to write everything down like on notes, because there's a power in getting this shit out of here and channeling it through your hand and putting it onto the paper. There's a power in that shit, bro. Like, I genuinely believe that. I feel like that's a part of why they push technology on us so much, is to kind of take away some of that cognitive intention to be like, it's something I got to do. But that's you know what I'm saying. I don't want the airplanes to start flying again. You know, they heard me talking a lot today. They said, "Aren't you that wrestling? Aren't you that wrestling brother? Talk about that." So we got another show, man.
Hey, goals for you?
So my goals, I want to get through The Way of the Superior Man, and I want to read David Goggins. What was the title again?
You Can't Hurt Me.
You Can't Hurt Me. I want to get through that by the end of the month, and then I want to do 9 sets of 10 reps. I think I'm saying that right. Of 125 by the end of the month. I'm at 115 right now. 115, and I'm up to 6. So I was at 105, I did 9, and then I moved up to 115. So I think I can get to 125 by the end of the month.
Yes, sir. You got it, man.
You got it. Absolutely.
All right, guys.
That's it.
Good show. Let's plug it up. Let's plug it up for the end. Keon, go ahead.
You guys can find me on twitter.com/ChristyKillzone. You can also find me on Twitch. I won't say Twitter again. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Mr. Chillzone. Haven't really figured out what I'm going to be streaming whenever I get back to streaming. But you can also find me on the Game Record soon, I will say, probably within this next week. I just have to get some stuff straightened out with my new co-host who you guys will be meeting.
Very cool.
Very, very soon. So, and then you can also find me on follow me on TikTok because we're trying to be more active over there as well.
Good deal. Good shit. Good shit. Thank you, Keon, for being on today.
I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me on. I really appreciate it.
Ayden, I don't know if you have any plugs because you don't have any social media anymore, but we got the wrestling stuff happening this weekend.
Yeah, man. Today was the first day in All Out Weekend, man. Coming up first to kick things off, we got High Fly Radio episode 50 coming on in like a little less than an hour now. So be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be myself, Raul, and Jabril. So the OG3, man, you already know the original Outsiders. You dig? We're gonna be on the show together. We're gonna be hosting it. We're gonna be breaking down this weekend. That is gonna be All Out Weekend. You got Clash at the Castle tomorrow morning, and then we've got All Out on Sunday. The other thing that I wanted to add is before you click off this video and before you get up out of here, man, be sure to leave a like on this video, leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Be sure to check out the
there's link. A glitch on YouTube right now that is unsubscribing people from their from YouTube channels they've been subscribed to. So definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell.
Yeah. Because you want to know whenever y'all want to know whenever Ayden's coming on, because you never know when I'm gonna be there. You never know when I might just show up and derail the shit. It might get y'all thinking about some shit. You know what I'm saying? So be there. Y'all gotta be there. You gotta have the notifications on, man. It's always a good time whenever I get people heated. I love it. I love what I do, man. I really do.
Life's good.
I love that we get to do this show and just talk that shit, man.
I'm glad I finally found a point for Unstructured because that was not the best show. Yeah, so now I am really enjoying and glad we get to talk on the show about real stuff. For my plugs, thenerdcore.com and patreon.com/thenerdcore. And you can follow me everywhere on randomgerm101. And yeah, that's all I got. Do we got any last thing before we get out of here, guys? Got anything to say?
Man, that's it for me, man.
Honestly, I'll say this. You cannot talk about anyone else's temple if yours still has roaches in it.
That's good. That's good. All right. Later, everybody. We're out.